Greetings, everybody. Or as I should say, with my customary, I'm Rasa Angola the Far Eye.
And I'm Jenna, and welcome to
People Talking Kali. Okay, and People Talking Kali, if this is your first time tuning in, is a non-political platform where we discuss our shared interests and love for this beautiful combat system, the Kiti Tirshi Kali. And you, the viewer, are very much involved in that conversation. And as part of my customary introduction, if you're not from the PTK community, we welcome you as well to just get a little bit more insight into what we do, what the program is about, and what our show's about. So once again, thank you very much for your patience. Thank you for tuning in. We have a very special show here tonight because we want to talk this evening with you, the viewer. Okay, and so our guest there is no guest. It's all of us. It's a community having a community conversation. All right, and customary, we do a quick status check. You know, first and foremost, Jen and I, we're safe and secure here in Philadelphia. Okay, we've always been safe and secure, and we've never felt anything but safe and secure despite everything that's going on. All right, so we just want to share that with you as well. And just checking in right now, it looks like we have some viewers as well. And you guys, just by you tuning in, it's a status check for us as well.
Yes, we have Brother Morgan from Citadel Combat Arena, and Tuhan Jack Latour, and Brother Ali Johnson.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in and always consistently tuning in and supporting our program.
Yeah, and you guys are in diverse parts of the world, you know, Chicago, Rochester, Tuhan, I've been seeing a lot of stuff going on in that neck of the woods. And of course, Morgan, you're in the Northwest, and have been hearing about a lot going on. So hopefully you guys are well and everything is all right. Okay.
You know, we've had, quite a second season.
That's right.
Of our show. We just got finished a very strong, beautiful lineup of guests.
Mm-hmm.
And we have another beautiful lineup of lineup of guests to come. We've had the honor and privilege to host 3 Tuhans.
That's right.
And we've also had the honor and privilege to host 2 up-and-coming newer instructors.
Correct.
So we're kind of at both ends of, the journey as you kind of build, your group or building it yourself in PTK. And, I thought this was just really just a beautiful time to be able to do that. I think that is the blessing of, a very intense situation with this pandemic, that we've been able to come together and have more meaningful interactions through things like this. So, please give us your comments and feedbacks about, the things that you might have taken away or learned or appreciated in hearing from, the Tuhans who have been able to provide insight, and from the new instructors who are, voicing their insight, and, everyone's kind of has the same goal. What I've learned is that everyone has the same goal of, exposing and sharing Pikiti Tirsha to as many people as possible, and to also continue to develop themselves as practitioners, whether you're new and, it's your first day, or it's your 30th year. So, we've been able to take away some great lessons, So please give us your feedback and, let us know what things did you take away from that.
Yeah, May was on fire for us, right? And so it really differentiated the program. And so we want to continue with that. Next month, we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But never hesitate, family, to let us know what you liked, didn't like, what you would have liked to have seen, so that way next month we can continue to deliver solid quality content for you. Salute to Brother Rob out there in Texas, just tuning in. Good morning. I guess Oh, good evening. Okay, I read that wrong. It's far away. My eyes aren't so strong. And good evening, good brother. And hope you're staying hydrated right now. And as well as to our good friend, the Greedy Vegan in New Jersey, good friend and brother along the journey, Brother Demela, who's tuning in. And so already here in the chat, we have very diverse, very diverse viewership. And, you know, that's part of why we wanted to take the time to do this show. Because, you know, as Jenna mentioned, as we're in our second season, so to speak, you know, the culture that we've been looking to build and the community that we've been looking to build here has been manifesting. One, this is an interactive experience. And so you have guests, hosts, and viewers all sharing questions and comments in the same space, right? And thus far, the community is small. You check on the YouTube page, there might be like 100 or 200 or whatever views, but small but mighty. We'd rather have quantity, knowing that the people participating and viewing are sincere and authentic in what they have to participate, than have this large audience and it's just out of control. All right, so first and foremost, we've been building a strong community and culture here. All right, and not only that, we are seeing conversation happening amongst viewers in the chat, independent of what's going on with the show. You know, that's it. You know, it's the ripple effect of collaboration and communication that we're striving for and modeling. And as every episode is moving forward, we're getting there. And, you know, Jen and I get a lot of accolades and support, but we're just conduits, honestly. We're just merely trying to provide the platform and orchestrate / navigate, or, you know, air traffic control what we just see from our humble perspectives. And so that being said, we know our viewership. We know the culture of the people participating on the show. And therefore, we can have and should be able to have mature conversations like adults. Okay, salute, Rob. I know you're from Texas. My apologies. You know, I know you're an MD right now and from Texas, by the way. But just getting back to the point, we should be able to have difficult conversations like adults on the show with the quality viewers that we have. Okay, that being said, our topic tonight is the PTK community. And we are a microcosm of the global community. Okay, I have my notes here because I want to stay on track. We are united in our love and passion for this combat system, but we are diverse in our experiences, perspectives, worldviews, worlds of life, cultures, and ideologies and philosophies as well. So we're hoping our topic tonight can be, how can we as a PTK community remain united while what it looks like we see a lot of division and splintering and fracturing happening right before us. We didn't want our guests to be also overshadowed by the national events, and also our program schedule had to change due to what's going on based on what our guests do in their personal professions. So we're like, this is a good breath of fresh air with you, the people that we know. I'm talking right now, but as you already know from the show, please feel free to contribute. Salute, Brother Royce. Great seminar today, good brother. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Okay. Right now, when I just said, okay, how can we as a PTK community remain united? Right now, it's not divided into two sides. We're seeing fracturing on multiple sides. We're seeing anti-this, pro-that, moderators of this and that, extremes on both sides, a whole bunch of people afraid, and a whole bunch of people stoking the fire. Salute Brother Udo, right here in Philadelphia, a good friend as well. Sensei Frank, good brother, also out there with MNG. Royce, thank you for tuning in. Respect to all. Moving forward, welcome to People Talking Kali. If you're just tuning in, we're thanking you, the viewer, for helping create a culture where we can now have some difficult conversations because we know the viewership are quality-minded people, okay? And our topic tonight really is about staying united as a community. That's our topic, okay? And how, you know, regardless of what side you're on or what stance you take, we all train a martial system, you know? And therefore we have a responsibility to use knowledge and wisdom in everything that we do. So we don't want to be splintered and fractured the way we see what's going on around us, or at least what they want us to see. I'm not even, you know, you guys know what I'm saying. Can we set a model? Can we set a better example? We need to, because if we're a microcosm of the world, if there's fracturing out there, we're fractured. And then what's the future of the system? What does that mean for our students? You know, what does that mean for the people who, you know, love so many things about what Pekiti Tirji brings? Okay, so the purpose of the show has been unity and PTK unity, and we want to move forward with that here on this platform. All right. However, we'd like to set some protocols. Okay. That way, you know, we can all stay on track. Is that good? Good so far? Everybody checking in? I'm seeing some comments moving. Keep moving forward. If I'm moving too slow, thank you for your patience, but why rush? Okay. This conversation is less about your opinion. This conversation is less about your opinion on what's going on out there. All right. And it's more about how we as a PTK community will remain united. So if we start to steer off course, Jen and I will humbly, you know, redirect. I trust the queen. You know, queen brings balance. Queens bring balance to most situations. So we don't want to lose sight of what we're here to talk about. We don't want to lose the mission of what we've been building in all these episodes. Okay. Next thing. This is not Facebook, family. And this is what I want to say by that specifically. One, Jenna and I, we don't live in Facebook, okay? We spend more time in the natural, organic world than we spend in the virtual world. Our eyes spend more time in the natural, organic world than in the virtual world. We spend more time talking about and doing works in that. I'm just trying to say. So Jenna and I are not really, we use Facebook as a platform to promote what we love, PTK. Maybe some posts here and there about, you know, family stuff, anniversaries, but for the most part, that's what this is for to us, you know. For example, we don't share like our personal spiritual way on Facebook. And as most of you know, in seminars and in class, we don't often even share that. We stick to PTK. If you stayed with us, you might know how disciplined we are in our personal way of life and maintaining positive, healthy attitudes. But that's, you know, that's for us. People ask a question, that's fine, but we're not here. So we don't use Facebook for that. And folks, I got some messages, you're not saying this, you're not saying that. And I'd rather do what we'd rather do what we're doing right now, have a conversation. Okay. Hope I didn't offend anybody, but I got to go through the protocols. Facebook is a lot of confirmation bias, cognitive dissonance, a lot of people just trying to prove their point to other people who agree with them. It's not really the best, in my experience and observation. It's not really the best platform to have an intellectual conversation, a scholarly debate, a healthy discourse, a restorative discourse. It's not, I don't think it's, we don't really see it for that. Okay. And so it looks like sometimes a lot of drunk people arguing at the end of the night. Okay. No disrespect to whatever position, you know, so why am I saying this? I'm saying this because we're going to have a conversation. We don't want the chat room to look like conversation, Facebook comments. We don't want the question to be, you know, inflammatory, just to, you know, try to prove a point. If before you type a comment or ask a question, really feel like you need to prove a point, stop for a second, humbly asking, stop for a second, and ask yourself, is what I'm about to say trying to unify and bring unity to this community? Okay, because that's what the show's about. And if you can't help yourself, you ask a question, no problem. But I'm humbly saying that I think you all know where we're coming from. Just want to have some real talk. Talking too long? Keep going. Okay. We know there's bad apples out there. Next, this is all on the protocols, family. We know there's bad apples out there. Okay. We don't want to spend too much time on them. Too much time on them. Okay. Somebody starts sounding like one. They just showed themselves. Okay. This dialogue is not about the bad apples, but more about maybe just a conversation. Once again, how are we going to move forward as schools, as groups, address students? What if issues maybe come up in class? What if conflicts come up in class? Okay. We're hoping that this conversation could be more about that. Can we set an example for others to follow, for the nation to follow? Can we do it? Can you see it? Can you envision it, warriors? There's no model for what's needed right now. And I'm saying personally, Jenna's going to speak in a minute, you know, we're calling for fresh leadership to be solution oriented and proactive for this conversation about the PTK community and what we can do. Divided we fall, family. Violence has a terrible ripple effect, as we know. We have a responsibility to try and preserve life first, and that's our philosophy in PTK. Okay, that's my intro. Thank you for being patient. Just kind of wanted to set a precedent, set a tone, lay a foundation down, and you know, then check in with you, the family. Right about now, the Queen is going through and scrolling because we already are seeing some feedback. Take a moment and run it down.
Yeah, I mean, I think it jumped off with MNG Royce just saying that, you know, his insight was that it would be that, you know, we all need to take responsibility and accountability to take those steps to be responsible for our actions within the PTK community. And when that happens, then the maintaining unity or the building of unity can, you know, continue to be, you know. Yeah. And Tuhan Jack asks, in solidarity, what instructors would you like to see work together?
I'm coming straight up the middle, Tuhan. Okay. You know, I want to see I would love to see the Tuhans from the major camps working together. You know, I mean, I could name the specific names if that would help, but it's, you know, the major Tuhans in the PTTA, it's Tuhan Jared Hangi, Tuhan Kitasenas, I might be missing a Tuhan there, excuse me, you know, Tuhan Ramel, Tuhan Nonoy, Tuhan Nick Papadakis, Tuhan Phil Jelinas, Tuhan Bill McGrath, yourself. Would love to see all Tuhan Leslie Buck, Tuhan Erwin Ballarta, Tuhan Belton Lubas. I mean, honestly, and if I haven't named one, love to see that. I hope that answers your question. You know, if it could be just a two or a combination or a myriad of that, I think that would be great. And hopefully moving forward, we could make that happen, family. We could make that happen. Timing is everything.
You know, after that, there began a dialogue between MNG Royce and Tuhan Jack about the fact that I think Tuhan Jared and Tuhan Bill are kind of working together. There's a couple of, you know, there's a lot of joint seminars where there's a lot more than one instructor teaching. I think that's also just a great way to just bring diversity in that particular training. I think it's important as well to, and not just the Tuhans, but I think there's a lot of, you know, beginnings where groups are beginning to not cross train with like different systems, but like cross train with groups. If people are coming together, traveling to one area, traveling to another area to kind of share information. I think that, you know, the seminar circuit, that is actually kind of like a new phenomenon of PTK. It's not really like something that, I mean, there were seminars, but there weren't so many, you know, seminars. And so I think that has definitely given people the opportunity to come together a lot more. And I think that the continuation of that, you know, people, the leadership coming together, and not just Tuhan leadership, but other instructors, you know, continuing to reach out. You know, I know our group, when we first started, you know, Guru Angola reached out to essentially every group that we could get to, you know, and every group that we could, you know, meet with and train with. And we were able to get some great people to help us, especially from New Jersey and New York and Florida. And we were able to get some insight from the Tuhans who we were learning from and form relationships. And so I think that most people are doing that. And I think continuing to do that, it'll continue to build, you know. Yeah. Brother Ali Johnson said that I think it's important to be honest, respecting the truth and embracing diversity, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I don't know if this is how you intended it, Brother Ali, but the way we look at it is that every viewpoint, every attack has a counter, a vulnerability. Every viewpoint has a blind spot. You know, everyone's in a bubble. Do you know your own bubble? Do you know what's outside your bubble? And so the idea of, you know, leaders, good leaders, often surround themselves with a diverse body of advisors and individuals so that they can cover the blind spots and have that honest, real talk. So, you know, I totally agree with you, brother Ali. I wanted to we're just going on the list. Thank you for your patience. We're having the conversation. It's live. You know, we have a delay also. You know, Brother Morgan speaking about his religion and his the difficulty being private and your lifestyle, and you know, totally understand. You know, in the sense of, you know, whether, you know, we have our spiritual way, we're Ras, you know, it has nothing to do with staying quiet or not per se, but right now, of course, people's different philosophies and perspectives are really being challenged, and people are asking themselves, you know, how can I hold on to this? And what does it mean for that? And so our response to that, of course, freedom of expression. And we would never want to limit anybody's expression. But I think as some of the comments already said, it's just about being responsible. You know, being responsible with our communication and what we express and what we hope the outcomes will be in the long run. Yeah, more communication I see about the future event with Tuhan Bill and Tuhan Jared being changed because of the pandemic. And guys, please keep us posted. Favoritism in the PTK community definitely exists. Favoritism exists, sadly, most communities that we see, in most institutions and platforms. I mean, I totally agree with you, Brother Rob, about favoritism. You see it in the schools. The teacher got their favorite student, and they're treating them different than the other students in the class. And that metaphor can be applied in so many different ways. And you see it with instructors favoring one student over the other. And so it really takes leadership to be balanced and non-partial. And non-partial leadership holds itself accountable, and it sticks to the protocol, sticks to the policy. It's got to stick to the doctrine. And hopefully we can set a better example of not playing favorites, but being balanced in our leadership and in our decision making. Yeah, if I'm talking too much, beloved Queen, our brother Royce agreed. Keep the politics out of the classroom. We definitely do that in our class. And we had different diverse, beautiful things when you have different diverse groups of people all coming together just to train. Everybody sweating at the same time, feeling good at the end of the class, looking at each other after beating each other up, and pushing each other to the limit. And you feel that camaraderie, you feel that brotherhood. We would never want anything to betray that. And so hopefully we're not bringing this situation into our classrooms, hopefully. And if we are, we're being responsible. Students might bring it up.
Hi, Teresa. How are you? And greetings, Kyle, Brother Kyle. It's good to hear from you. I think that I think favoritism is something that exists because of just the nature of how the nature of how people kind of connect with each other. And it also, I mean, it exists maybe on what someone might say on a different level. If someone might feel like they want a certain level of access. And I think that what's beautiful about PTK is that, where in a situation, if you are struggling and a dynamic isn't working out, there are other dynamics and other bridges to getting a certain level of access to things. Because, the beautiful thing about PTK and most martial systems is that there are so many more people who are trying to do the right thing at a given time, or to be balanced as an instructor. There's so many more people who are trying to do that than aren't. And so at any given time, anyone can manifest their higher self or a not so high, not the best self. And so in that case, we can't always judge good and bad based, it's based on the circumstance. But I do think that the beautiful thing about PTK is that there's a lot of people who do push for that level of solidarity amongst each other. I in particular without PTK, I probably wouldn't have the diversity of friendships and that we have. And, it is about, at the end of the day, I like that PTK isn't an art that, people are doing for just, most people aren't just doing it for a hobby. They're doing it because they enjoy building their skill. And so being around other people that are also building their skill, it creates a camaraderie and a mutual respect that, I think is kind of undeniable on most bases. And so for me, I haven't really had any experience like a bad seminar, it's usually a well-rounded group of individuals who are driving a positive force, and one negative energy can't really take from that, so there's so many other bridges if you feel like there's favoritism to channel. And there's so many people who are willing to reach out and support you.
Agreed. And just to add to that, which again, Brother Rob, I totally agree. You say, if you want to get to know me, you have to meet me. I could not agree with you more. And for the most part, at least Jenna and I's experience, which is part of why we've been able to do the show. So when we meet people, we're able to connect with the humanity in everybody. Honestly, that's been our experience. So sometimes along the way, as Jenna said, we've heard, this and this about this person, or have you heard such and such about this person? And then we meet those people, and the energy and the interaction has always been positive. That's not making an excuse or not negating or minimizing what other people's experiences are. But ultimately, like you said, Rob, if you want to, you have to get to know people before you truly pass judgment on them. And so we couldn't agree with you more,
Right.
and as Jenna said, for us, particularly in this situation, we put ourselves out there to be in other circles, not just in the PTK community, but as civilians working with non-civilians, law enforcement, having personal terrible experiences at times with officers growing up. Not even going to run from that, being a schoolboy, knowing that really it was unjustified, terrible, terrible, scarring experiences, knowing the fear of an experience like that. Also having very good positive interactions with officers, as a civilian and as an instructor, so it's because I took the time to step out of the bubble and be empathetic, try to understand, not sympathetic, not agree, but try to step outside of my own bubble to gain a broader, larger perspective on what's going on. And Jenna's been right there with us. And so that's really what we're here trying to foster, and sometimes it's difficult to have rough conversation.
Yeah.
You see mommy and daddy arguing, or, you see members of the family arguing. One take sides, mad at this one, remember what this one did last year, remember what this one did, but, you go and tit for tat, and as a family, who suffers? The children, the future, the youth, so for us, it's our hardcore experience out there, meeting and talking with you, the viewers, that's got us in that position. All right, I'm talking a lot.
Hey,
I'm
Rachel.
talking a lot. I'm talking
Rachel.
a lot.
I also think it's important that, in times like this where there is a level of divide going on in our nation, and then, it's speaking to a worldwide concern, a humanitarian concern about the importance of treating people with respect. I think it's important if, on a smaller scale, and when you're talking about Pahiti Tirsha, that, that you teach your students, and us as instructors, we bring the best out in other people. I think that's a very important and valuable thing to do, and a lot of times when, we don't realize that even people who we don't even know can reflect us, we can reflect them in that moment. It's very important to always bring out the best in people. So, Brother Morgan was talking about, how it would horrify him to, train with someone who had malice, or who wasn't being respectful. And, I think that everyone might have had an experience where you train with someone who you don't necessarily want to train with in that moment, and you've had to make a decision, and sometimes you might say, okay, new partner.
It's usually because they're hitting your knuckles, right, or something
or
like that.
Or they're being egoistic, or they're talking too much, all the things, that you may or may not appreciate about a partner. And in that moment, you can bring the best out of them by how much you bring the best out in yourself. And I found that bringing the best out in myself has always, helped to bring the best out in that partner. And of course, there's some times where you're like, okay, new partner time, but I think that, teaching our students to do that is very, very important. I appreciate our group in particular, because our group is very diverse, extremely diverse, in the sense that, we have a large population of women in the group, and we have a well-rounded, people of different backgrounds.
Got a lot of different colors,
spiritual
cultures. Okay.
And then we have ours, and we don't necessarily like going back to the, I think was that Brother Morgan again talking about religion and how you're not really, you don't want to necessarily hide that. We don't hide who we are, and what we represent. We just don't force other people to follow what we follow spiritually, but we do promote a culture where we want everyone to feel welcome and have the same goal of improving themselves. But at the end of the day, if we teach our students to bring out the best in themselves, and we set the example, of bringing out the best in ourselves, and the students will too. You know, I think our students don't have that much ego in those moments. They don't. There's not a lot of ego. I actually think it's because of the women. Just being honest, I think it's because of the balance of female energy, but I also think that you know, there's a precedent that we set. You know, and you know, I appreciate that Guru Angola. You know, he genuinely loves PTK. Or if he's like not feeling the happiest, or if he's a little cranky, or if he's, you know, having a long day, he can always train and feel balanced, you know, that truly enjoys it. And I respect that. And when you have that in your heart and you're sharing it from that perspective, it creates a certain, you know, energy in, you know, the people who you're training with as well, you know. So
I'm a fan. I love this piece. I love this family. Okay. And like Jenna said, how it's helped us grow as individuals and who it's helped us grow with. And I don't want to lose sight of what Brother Morgan said. I would never want to train with somebody with malice. All the instructors that we've met along the way do not tolerate that. And I would recommend speaking to your local instructor. The feed is going again, so if we're delayed in getting to the comments and questions, I don't want to lose sight of Tuhan Jax. How do we go about starting the process? I'm thinking you're talking about getting the Tuhans united. Tuhan Jack, you know, we got here. We're here right now. You know, we got this step going. I'm thinking timing is going to play a big part in that. And, you know, sometimes you have like this convergence. You have this convergence where all minds are just kind of like, yeah, it's time. And so hopefully that convergence happens sooner than later. Tuhan, Jack, again, and I failed to mention Tuhan Arlene. You just ordered a book from her. I haven't got it. Thank you for sharing it, letting us know about it and about the forward. And yet, hopefully, you know, it lives up to everything it's about. And I'm sure it's probably about the future of PTK and being united. All right, sorry, I scroll up and scroll down. Okay, where did I go? Where are we at? Attitudes trickle from the top, so quality leadership is huge, more so than rank. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Leaders come in all shapes and sizes. Leadership is an affliction. Leadership is an affliction that you can be born with. Sadly, everybody's trying to find a cure, you know, because it's responsibility, it's humility, it's service, it's accountability. It's not about you. At least this is what I'm understanding in my development of it. And Tuhan and everybody here, that's why we're having this show. We wanna generate a positive love force, so we can be the leaders in whatever small bubble that we're at, and just try to set that example. Not be afraid to have the hard questions, have the hard conversations, know when we're being emotionally activated internally. Gotta know that. It's normal, it's natural. You hear something, thumbs, fingers, you know, the next thing you know, you're pulling, I'm going to share this to prove that, which never really is kind of proving anything. It's just, so we know the feeling, but leadership is being balanced mindset, thinking about the collective. The collective here is not just everybody in our bubble. The collective is the bubble for here of PTK, and hopefully this translates into bigger than PTK, so everyone I know that's right here is a leader, and students that are here are leaders, and children that I know are leaders, and you got seniors that, oh my God, they're terrible. And you know what, some people, you got to know when it's time not to lead. Take a step back. Take some direction. Fall back. Follow a little bit. Observe. Get a sense of what's going on. Clear your own thoughts about the issue. You know what I mean? Have the perspective. Believe in it. Do everything to prove that you're right. And then, take that step. Turn it upside down. Look at it from another way. Like I just said, there's somebody in the PTK community that can answer your question. You know what I'm saying? I talked about terrible experiences that I had, terrible experiences growing up in the city, terrible experiences, victim of crime, being jumped, being beat up, you know, and vice versa, beating people up, beating people up. So I wanted to go back to that because I didn't want to appear imbalanced. I have to say that. So, you know, we have to set the example, family, and we need you leaders to rise up.
Yeah, because leadership is service. It's more than just giving directions. It's service. And at the end of the day, it's about being balanced enough to provide that service. Because you know, you might be providing a service as instructors because you have a goal or you have a purpose for your group. But more importantly than having a purpose is having balance. Your purpose will change, but do you have the balance to maintain, you know, the the energy, the camaraderie, the overall environment that you're trying to create as a leader.
Yeah. So as Royce, I see, said, as adults, we have to recognize what's right and wrong and even be willing to tell and even stand up to our instructors. And so I am agreeing. I want to add maybe and just elaborate and package on that more. You know, sometimes I know what's right. I know what's wrong. This is wrong. How could you not deny this is wrong? Look at this. This is wrong, right? And then, okay, yeah. But it's interesting when you actually have diverse perspectives. You see, and what the thing about empathy, as you agreed, and not sympathy, is to be able to say, okay, what's going on here? This is my truth. This is what's right. This is where I stand. Okay. There's fucking some things that are just intolerable. Excuse my language. Like somebody violates female in the class, a man in the class is violated. Okay, we're not talking about that. We're just talking about ideologically and perspective-wise so far. You know, not talking about what we know are clear violations, flag on the play, you're out of there, like Morgan was talking about. Okay. We're talking about more ideological, philosophical perspectives where the question of what's right and wrong is creating more conflict and division and not providing any solutions. And while that can appear justified, what we're saying, at least for the PTK community, is we don't want to let that happen. Did I say that all right? I gotta defer to the queen, family. Because I gotta reflect and self-check too. And I know with sometimes my tone and my words and my slang, you know, you're trying to say one thing, and I'm sure you guys know this too. You're typing one thing, you mean one thing, and then boom, whoa, it's taken in a whole other direction. Now people are saying, you're wrong. And you're like, no, I'm right. You know, and you know, it's a challenge, it's complex. Like I said earlier, there's no model for this. We have to set the good example. Thank you for your patience. Scrolling down. Okay, I scroll down. I'm at the bottom. I got everybody's comments. Oh. Sorry about that, my love. Could you handle the tech for me? I'm clicking off the windows and I'm losing stuff. Leadership and rank are two different things. People think rank gives them leadership. Not necessarily true.
And I agree with that. And that's kind of where I can appreciate MNG Royce's comment, because, you know, the one thing that I can, you know, humbly say and suggest for where PTK could be, you know, polish its practices, it is in the instructor ranking, because in that, you know, not necessarily the politics of who deserves what. I'm not all into that, but I'm more on the vibe that, you know, for someone to be ranked and then therefore considered an instructor, do they have the qualities and the integrity that it takes to provide strong leadership? You know, and you know, I think that is something to be looked at. And then also there's skill. It takes skill to instruct and to be able to share what you're learning, you know, because a lot of people who will be promoted to an instructor, you doesn't necessarily make you a master. You still have to learn as you're going. But as you're learning, can you share with someone in a way that they'll understand? Do you have that path of balance where internally you're balanced? And if you're not balanced, I do think that as an instructor, I do think that it is the responsibility of other instructors, and I think that and other
Going back to
people,
what Royce is
I think it's
saying.
their
Yeah,
responsibility to be able to express it. And unfortunately,
accountability.
yeah, I think, but unfortunately, sometimes we're in a space where when you give someone feedback about themselves or feedback about how they can improve, they may not be able to receive it, and so it's important to, and because they may not be able to receive it, what I would say is, like, so I have my own business and I run a preschool, and so instead of me always trying to give feedback to like an employee, instead I can quantify what qualities we're looking for, and so, and I'm not saying that should be done. I'm just saying that that's an example of what could be done if you feel like someone needs feedback, and they're in the leadership position because they think that because they're ranked that means to be a leader, or they have the opportunity to be a leader because they're ranked. And if there needs to be a correction, no one is above correction, no one's perfect, and there's nothing new under the sun. So everybody is should be driven by a certain level of humility, whether you're good or not. And so if there is someone nothing to be called,
That's right.
I think
Because
we need
it's
to be aware.
the bad apples. That's what's going on. The bad apples from whatever in the world are not. They're doing what they're doing, and you got a population of people not saying what's wrong. So we as instructors, we don't want to let that happen. And as I'm reading down the comments, Brother Royce, and I see you say, you and I know how that can be. Absolutely, because Royce and I know of an experience with as grounded as I might think I am, there's a particular instructor, and I said something to this instructor, you know what I mean? And I was a little bit off, and how I handled it was a little bit off. I thought I was so right, okay? But I had to humble, and we had to have a conversation like this. And I had to be able to say, okay, this is where I was coming from. And then other person was like, okay, well, this is where I was coming from. And when you did it like that, man, and I was like, wow, I really learned from that. So yeah, I know about that. Hey, real quick, Gudo Ferg, good to see you. He's checking in.
Mhm.
Okay.
MNG Royce just said, I'm constantly questioning my choices and my decisions on a regular basis, which I think is invaluable. It's very important to reflect, and not to reflect to prove why you're right. A lot of times when you're in a position and you made a decision, or there was something that you had to, there was a challenge you had to work through, especially as a teacher or a leader. And, a lot of times if you're feeling like it didn't sit right with you, it's because maybe you should think about it, not from the perspective of justifying it being correct in your own mind. True reflection is saying, how could I have done this better? In the future, what will I do better? And can I restore when I wasn't, at my best? Or even if I was at my best and I am sitting on being correct, but the person who I might have had that challenge with doesn't feel that way, can you go back and say, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me being right or correct,
What does it look like, Jenna and I holding on to who's right in the situation? This is the metaphor. You guys see us here. We live in the real world. We're struggling. Every now and then, man. Jenna's tough. But it's not about, it's about holding each other accountable, being humble, and all of that. I agree with brother Sensei Frankie, karate teacher, would say your rank is given when and I agree with that, sir. At some point, rank should not be given if a person's character is one that's divisive, toxic, venomous, hurting the community, turning people away. That's when we got to hold each other accountable, and all the like I'm saying, this was beautiful. And getting back to what Jenna said, what we know for the majority, at least of the PTK community, at least the quality of people here, agree with that. We definitely agree with that. And we need to uphold that. Rank You know, then you got skill, you got character, you got leadership. You know, it should be in that order. And you know, of course, at the very beginning, you got students. You know, they're Yakan one, and you're like, okay, be a leader. What does that mean? But you know, you're developing leadership amongst students slowly along the way. I think we might have talked about that in one of the other episodes too, Han Jack. How do you develop or foster leadership? Or maybe it was with Mandala Mont, pardon me. But you know, in terms of this metaphor and reality of our PTK groups in this conversation, you're building leadership in baby steps slowly along the way, as more go on. While I'm on that subject, before I forget, I got to do a timeout, make a hard left. Shout out to Rachel Pavalinas Masses for stepping up in the leadership position. She, as of late, has been helping promote the show, post all this stuff on YouTube for the events, future guests. She might reach out to you because Jenna and I are so busy. And as I said, we're not the best Facebook people. You know, we want to do better with promoting the show. And, you know, shout out to that student for stepping up in that position. I've been trying to say that for every episode. Okay, now that I'm there. Is there another?
Everyone's just kind of chiming in and talking about the idea of, you know, that the idea that as a leader it's important to eliminate your ego and be honest with yourself. You know, I think it's very hard to eliminate ego in a system that in most martial arts, because martial arts is or martial science, especially like combat martial science. And I'm not just talking about PTK, because PTK is like seriously combat martial science. You know, it's done by like people who are actually, you know, who are not civilians and by people who are. So, but there are other type of combat martial science. Like I would say boxing is combat because the end game of boxing is the boxing match. So in those particular systems, you know, and PTK included, you kind of have to prove it. Like you have to prove that it works. Like, you know, it's a system where you have to, you know, put your money where your mouth is. You know, it's not like, you know, some of the more commercialized systems. And, I'm not saying that those systems are always like that, but, you know, more commercialized systems that, you know, you would do as like a hobby because, you know, they can, you know, you kick the board and, you know, get your belt and, you know, you move. I guess it's a different situation where it's like, no, prove that you can survive. And that does force, you know, instructors to carry a certain level of an edge, you know, being able to, like, you know, give security to the students that after a certain training, they will be able to have that level of preparedness. But at the same time, not trying to jump there just because, you know, someone on the street says, well, I would do this, you know, we train outside. People all the time say, well, I would do this, or why are you doing that? Or doing it because the student wants to jump to that as well. You know, it takes a level of internal reserve, but also creativity in how you build preparedness in your students. And so it's hard to step out of that, you know, and I think it's very important to, you know, have your checks and balances. And that might mean, you know, I think the beauty of our group, and, you know, it didn't just happen overnight, is that we do have people who have multiple ranks in our group. And so even some of our students who are, you know, are in the quote unquote lower rank, they can still help and they can still answer questions. And having those checks and balances, I think, is very critical because, you know, it'll help kind of just that delegation of checks and balances is what I mean, will help to take away the pressure on the individual group leader or that particular teacher to have this edge where I have to show that this works, you know. And so, you know, a guest that we'll have, you know, soon, who is a Tuhan Erwin Balata, he said that, you know, it's very important that when he would instruct, that he would have multiple people. I know he wouldn't mind me saying this. Multiple people are the safety checks. Everyone, whether you just learned to move 5 minutes ago or you've been here for 20 years, everyone is an inspector. If anyone feels like in this moment there's a problem, then you call it, whether you're new or you've been here 10 years, because everyone here is mutually responsible for our safety. And when I took that with me, I thought it was just a beautiful thing because, you know, a lot of times you will feel out of pressure as a teacher, And that pressure, if you're not balanced, or if you're struggling with how to, move through that pressure, then it'll result in the egoistic or imbalanced decisions that you'll make to hold on to the security. So I've taken that with me, and I do a lot of seminars with people who don't know Kali at all. And it's probably going to be their first or second time, and they're not going to train again. I teach a lot of women self-defense workshops, and they're just trying to learn for one day. They have families, they can't commit. And so I still make them all accountable in the room. Every woman in this room is accountable for maintaining safety. And it's a very empowering thing to do, but it also helps you as an instructor have a clear thought while you're instructing, knowing that everyone is on the same page, And so in our group, I feel that as well. We have multiple people who are all on the same page.
And we're just trying to, again, set models and good examples. And because you see us balanced, it's because we're around a community of people that are balanced, and that's what we're spending our time with. While we're still on the subject of the ego, and I see Morgan talked about how it's crystallized, in a lot of people, because it does require a certain spiritual death. Part of your has to die, and be reborn again anew for that process. And that's the thing about cognitive dissonance, is that where you believe something, then you're presented information contrary to what you believe. And instead of at least being open to the information, it reaffirms your belief as opposed to the contrary. And so that's examples of ego, and for us, one of some of the stuff that keeps us humble is that, for us, suffering and pain is a great learning experience. Discomfort is a great learning experience. When I say suffering and pain, again, we're talking to a mature audience. When you go through stuff, that's your time to grow. That's your time to grow and really analyze. When you feel regret, that's your conscience. If you do something and there's regret, that's your conscience telling you, hold up, and if you don't listen to that conscience, now not only do you feel the regret, but you're mad at yourself because you should be doing better. And it's that kind of process, not trying to sound like a self-help person, but it is a process like that one does have to go through. And if they don't go through that process, they're going to end up holding on to their blind spots, holding on to their blind spots. And as we already know, when you're caught by surprise, that's the worst attack. It's your blind spot. That's where the ambush comes from. It's what you don't see. So I was going somewhere. Losing of the ego, discomfort. Hey, want to know a quick way to lose your ego? Strip down, not physically strip down. Remove all your comforts. Everything that you think you need. Go for a week without your TV, your cell phone, and see how, and be disciplined and firm for whatever time you set. That's what fasting does. That's why certain people fast, and I know my spiritual people out there, it humbles you, makes you check your ego. So, you have to put yourself through that process. Don't mean to be talking so long, folks, but there's some great comments that's really inspiring this conversation. I saw something up here that I really, really appreciated. Guido Ferd said, I can answer any question. If I can't answer it, then it's not that important. That is hilarious. Brother, I love you for your humor. Sometimes when I'm working with my high school students, I'll ask them a question and they'll look at me and they'll be like, I don't know. Sometimes I say, you know what, that's the best answer. Sometimes that's the best answer. Getting back to ego is the ability to say, you know what, I don't know, but I know where you can find that information. And I know you weren't even going with anything but being who you are, good brother, but it made me think about what I just said. Love what Tuhan Jack said about leadership should be something you're always chasing, because, you can't polish that gem enough, because we'll never be perfect, but we can strive for excellence. So yeah, we always have to be chasing it, cannot get comfortable and think, I got it solved.
And when you speak to your grandparents, ask them about it. Still evolving and growing. And we're trying to use metaphors to bridge for how we can be. Brother Royce, Brother Morgan, we agree that you guys are very humble. We see that, very self-reflective. Royce, can't wait to host you next weekend. Yes, my dates are all confused. Sorry. That's what we're going to shout out at the end. I have it here. But yeah, brother, you are a very humble brother, as most of the viewers are. Okay, thank you for appropriating whatever you're going to appropriate. Texas Rob, not sure about the comment of C-Lot. And yeah, being able to survive having your ideology or ideals or what fundamentally make you up your character is far greater task for me than having to prove the validity of the techniques. Salute. And the fact that one, you're able to talk about that, is a step. And I'm not speaking down. I'm speaking with you on this journey, because that's to me what empathy is. It's like, okay, these people don't agree, don't believe, don't see. Now what? Where do we go from here? And again, not trying to make any incendiary comments, but again, just knowing that struggle where, I have these values. How can I hold on to it and step outside my bubble? Is that possible? And if it's not possible, know yourself and be responsible. Speaking to the community here, you got, again, it's about knowing yourself, knowing what you can do in your capacity, without compromising who you are. That's what's most important. Strive for perfection, settle for excellence, salute. Yes, Ali, leaders are known by leading by example in conjunction with passion and proper understanding. Sound like a leader. Looking forward to crossing bases with you, good brother. Your continuous, good support on the show. Again, Tuhan Irwin safety check. Definitely make sure we mention that. And of course, again, Tuhan Irwin, we'll have him the week after we have Brother Royce. His experience with teaching law enforcement and more has helped him develop programs of accountability and safety that, of course, are great for training, but if you look at it, are great models to just have in your life, okay? Yeah, we did it. We did it, family. We had a good conversation. Maybe we tiptoed, maybe we danced, maybe we got, toe deep in the water, maybe we got ankle deep. Again, our role is to try to get some good conversation going between people of different walks of life. First about PTK, but by being good in PTK, we can help make the world a better place. We normally end the show, with a vision for the future. And I think you guys know what that is for Jenna and I. Unity in the PTK community, not a fake sense of peace, but outside of the PTK community and within it, being able to have the real conversations and discourse, but responsively with proactive solutions that's going to look for the better of the future, for your kids in mind. You know what I mean? For all our babies. What's going to be the right decisions for that, And so that's our vision for the future. Royce, I'm seeing your thing. You're gonna have your questions, sir. Looking forward to that. And I might have missed some questions or comments, or Jenna might have missed it because things were scrolling down. If we haven't missed any questions or comments, we want to let you know about our upcoming guests. Okay, respect to all, Brother Rob. Yes, sir. Looking forward to talking with you soon and hoping to bring you on the show. We'll talk about that, you and I. But moving forward for June, We have Matas Naguro Royce Ramos from the Nomads next Saturday, 8 p.m. at this time. Good brother. More about him. We have the week after that, Tuhan Erwin Ballarta, first generation student of the Grand Tuhan, as well as original. Whoa. I'm going to stop right there. I'll save that for June 20th. Okay. Yeah, June 20th, 8 p.m. Eastern, our time as well. And then after that, we got Kali Doug. Okay, brother Doug. Okay, Marsh coming out of Texas, been around for, I think, 18 years is what I said. Also a great supporter of the show, also doing his job in presenting platforms for community and people to talk. We're going to have him June 27th, and we're looking forward to that conversation with everybody as well. Thank y'all for tuning in, offering your perspective. Take this good energy, take these good vibes, go on and spread it wherever you're at. You know what I mean? Know yourself, know when you're triggered, take a few deep breaths, and put things in perspective. Much love to you too, Brother Morgan. And yeah, normally we do the EDC carry with you. You know what I did today? You know what I'm carrying right now, man? You know what this is right here? Nah, that's not no bud, folks. Nah, that's ginger. I don't want to get in trouble. That's ginger. Yeah, okay? Because I'm making tea, because I'm staying indoors right now with my family. All right? And everything else, that's for me. But right now I'm staying positive. Might make some tea. I might nibble on this. Ginger is a healthy way of life. What I got in my pocket is going to help me stay healthy. And I want you to stay healthy. I want you to not forget, about our core principles of life, health, and success. Okay. And I'm not saluting out. I'm just saying that here on the show. All right. So that's my EDC carry right now. Love you all. Thank you for tuning in. Loyalty, wisdom, respect.
Life, health, and success.
See you
Be
next
safe,
week.
everyone.
Thank you.